Vale, Vatos. This is Okudowski of WeAreChange.org, joined by Tim Pashot, the Liberty Advisor. And in this video, we will be asking you the question, what will it be? Freedom or the microchip? Some people might say that is sort of hyperbolic, but not really when you look at Facebook, Microsoft, and even the U.S. Federal Reserve vying for their own digital currency, digital dollar, aka a total totalitarian control grid society of controlling your purchasing powers and having the ability to turn it off if you might say something offensive. I get riled up about these topics, but again, there's a lot to talk about, specifically Facebook's Libra, Microsoft's patent to use currency systems that are either on or in your body, but also specifically this latest talk about the Fed dollar, and most importantly, this kind of digital dollar that, of course, is still being pushed. If you remember, me and Tim Pashot actually talked about this kind of digital dollar a couple days ago. We were criticized because it was in the bill, then it wasn't in the bill. But again, this is not going away. This push is going to be continuing for a very long time. And very interestingly, this is being introduced by Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, who again wants more of this kind of UBI centralized system where the government gives you money. She wants each citizen to get $2,000 per month because of minting a $1 trillion coin that will allow this to be paid for. And inside of that bill, the Federal Reserve will conveniently create, quote, the Fed accounts, meaning a digital dollar account wallet, which will allow you to, quote, access your financial services. And as we know from historical lessons, whenever you give someone total control, they totally abuse it. And that's most likely what's going to be the case with this, setting the groundwork for very dangerous implications. Of course, allowing someone from a computer keyboard to take away all of your finances to allow, and again, this is not hyperbolic because already in some ways with the particular bannings that have been happening by Uber, by Airbnb, by Lyft, by Facebook, by Twitter, by Instagram, by other large technocratic, by Amazon, by other large technocratic organizations. Already, this is somewhat in effect, not to the great extent that is total totalitarianism, but it still exists on some level already. And these people want more power over us. Tim, this is absolutely insane.
Yeah, and not only are you not being hyperbolic, it's actually a lot worse than what you even say. I mean, it's a lot worse than even what I'm saying. And so if we go over here to the screen, let's just take a look at Microsoft's new patent. And then, by the way, their patent, and this is from patentscope.wipo.int. And so the patent, of course, it's got 3 6s in there. So let's not lose sight of that. So we've got patent W02020 060606, cryptocurrency system using body activity data. Goes on to say human body activity associated with a task provided to a user may be used in a mining process of a cryptocurrency system. A server may provide a task to a device of a user, which is communicatively coupled to that server. A sensor communicatively coupled to or compromised in the device of the user may sense body activity of the user. Body activity data may be generated based on the sense body activity of the user. The cryptocurrency system communicatively coupled, they're saying that way too many times, to the device of the user may verify if the body activity data satisfies one or more conditions set by the cryptocurrency system and award cryptocurrency to the user whose body activity data has been verified. And then basically what they want to do is in somewhat, almost read your brain or read your brain waves. And this, it sounds sort of hyperbolic, me saying that right now, but let's just go on what the article says. A brainwave or body heat emitted from the user when the user performs a task provided by an information or service provider, such as viewing an advertisement or using certain internet services, can be used in the mining process. And then it goes on to say Microsoft Technology Licensing, the licensing arm of Microsoft Corp, has been granted an international patent for a cryptocurrency system using body activity data. We just actually read the patent for what it says. And, just think about this. So, here's one of the examples. For example, instead of massive computational work required by some conventional cryptocurrency systems, so we're talking about, like proof of work where you have Bitcoin, all these mining algorithms. Anyways, we're not, here to talk about necessarily Bitcoin today. But cryptocurrency systems, data generated based on the body activity of the user, can be a proof of work, and therefore a user can solve the computational difficult problem unconsciously. And this is something where, I mean, we had just talked about the other day, the history of Microsoft and the history of Bill Gates and how he had stolen that technology from Gary Kittle. I highly, highly recommend you guys go back and check out that video. Look, was that on the main channel or was that on our channel? I can't remember which.
I think that's on our channel. This one right here is Change the News.
Yeah, and then we had another one on We Are Change where it went into, Microsoft's connections with Marina Abramovich and how they brought her back out from Spirit Cooking. And if that sounds crazy and you have no idea what we're talking about, definitely want to check that one out on the main channel on We Are Change. And that actually got picked up by Breitbart. And because the second we got done with filming that video, Microsoft removed that. And so this is something where you could see the tea leaves of where this is eventually going. We are going to get more into digital dollar, but on here on screen, we have an article from Zero Hedge. Sooner or later, Americans will have to choose between freedom and a microchip vaccine. And so who is the biggest one pushing this right now? It's Bill Gates. And like seriously, the past 3 or 4 years, I almost never brought up vaccines. Almost never. I'm a financial guy, not one of the things that I talk about. But right now I've got a gigantic incentive to talk about this because I just see them just like shoving this down our throats of this is going to be the answer of, oh, by the way, we've got Bill Gates, who's the biggest pusher of vaccines, and it's his company is the one that wants to have, I mean, we didn't even talk about how they want to have this, like, he's also funding these like microchip tattoos, proving whether or not you have the vaccine to then travel, which then gets married into the digital dollar that we see over here on screen that Rashida Tlaib is proposing. And look, you actually gave her too much credit. So you said that she just wanted to have one, $1 trillion coin. It's actually, it's $2 trillion coins. It's actually what's going to fund this. And I'm not even joking. And we did cover this a little bit on Saturday, but Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and someone else introduced a new proposal to have the federal government issue $2,000 per month to residents by minting a pair of $1 trillion coins and using these to back the payments. The Automatic Boost to Communities Act, or ABC Act. I mean, they always name this stuff, the opposite of what it is, or they want to make it really juvenile, or it's going to be for the kids. So it's the ABC
we're going to allow
Act.
you to access your financial services, your financial funds. No, they're going to have a complete control of your financial services that they could turn on and off anytime that they want. This is really the bigger implications here, but they're selling it to you like, no, you're going to have way more access. No, we're going to have a central controller that has access to it. And we just have a little maybe stupid app on our phone that might make our lives just a little bit convenient, but not really. Keep going.
Yeah, no, exactly. And people always say like, oh, how, you guys are idiots because you don't, understand how Bitcoin is going to be used as this mark of the beast type system, or crypto. And yes, crypto is going to be used as the mark of the beast type system, but there is going to be different kinds, and it's all going to be digital anyways. It basically already is, like 97% of it's digital anyways. And then they're trying to then propagandize us and say, don't use cash because cash could have coronavirus on it. So we see where all this stuff is going. And now, I mean, going back to the article, it shows under the ABC Act, you'd have Fed accounts, meaning digital dollar account wallets, which would allow U.S. residents, citizens, and businesses located within the country to access financial services. I mean, of course, they're spinning this as, poor people can't access banking, which they can't, and they're underbanked and underserved, and they, can't get bank accounts. That's a whole other issue, but this isn't about helping poor people. It's about controlling people. And then we also, going on screen, seeing that, Libra is coming back into play by making nice with regulators. Of course, Mark Zuckerberg, is locking down protests organized on Facebook, which will be taken down as harmful misinformation. More stuff on Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg unveils Facebook's new coronavirus tracking site with map.
Well, before I kind of wanted to get in that in the preface also, if I could just introduce it with Libra. Of course, Absolutely. If you guys remember, Libra coin was this big initiative by all these major foundations, all these major corporations coming together to launch Facebook's kind of own digital currency, which got shut down by the public and also regulators. But now it's also important to note that during this time, during this kind of upheaval, during this crisis, it's important to note here that Libra did just make a bunch of changes to play nice with regulators to appease them so they could potentially push this through. Again, we're talking about a digital currency by Facebook, the most untrustworthy organization out there. Mark Zuckerberg, a person who's been just selling, data mining, and collecting so much information about you, and even people you know that don't even have Facebook. All of that's in their database. All of that has been sold to the highest bidder. They have been the most untrustworthy corporation out there as far as selling you out because of this free service. Again, nothing's free. When something's free, you are the product, and Facebook is the perfect exemplification of this. But again, this is also important to note here, Tim, because as we've been saying, we're facing unprecedented, historic economic times that will have severe ramifications. From the very beginning of this, I'm like, the economy, when it hits, it's going to hit hard, and it might hit harder, a lot harder than, of course, this sickness. It's why we're talking about the economy a lot. And this is kind of an opportune time to have something fill in for this calamity that we're seeing, that could be a digital threat, which is important to bring up here, along with the news of Zuckerberg just in unveiling this new sickness tracking site, which again, it looks like it's going to be voluntary, but again, when you look at Facebook and its history of just data mining, selling your information, restricting free speech, censoring just political speech that they disagree with, this is something that you should kind of worry about and look at, especially with the way China has been implementing technology. They've been using a color-coded health system scanner on their phone that again tracks you, watches you, and looks at all your little things about you, and then determines if you are, quote, healthy to get out of your house, if you're not healthy to get out your house, or if you still should be quarantined. And of course, that's directly connected with the Chinese government that is watching every single move, every single breath, every single fart you make in China.
Every breath you take will affect your social credit score.
Yeah, you jaywalk, it affects your digital score. So already this system has been implemented with this kind of already draconian system, the social credit score system in China that they're using. This is slowly where we're creeping into. We're creeping into this,
and it's not even slow. It's not even slow anymore. And you had talked about Facebook, selling our data. Well, this is coming from the Atlantic. Facebook didn't sell your data; it gave it away. So some places they just gave away our data. They're tracking us, and so now you've got places like Wuhan is back open for business, and you've got residents there who are suing and like, we were looking for answers from the government. Well, first off, you're going to a lying, corrupt government trying to get answers from them. Good luck. Let us know how that turns out. And then, we've got your article here about, the color-coded system. And now you've got other places like Norway has an app that's going to go track you. And so, and same thing with Australia, that they have Australians told restrictions must stay even as new virus infections slow. So the restrictions, basically all of this coronavirus stuff is kind of going away. However, all of the police state and the technocracy, that is here to stay. And this is a fast, all-out sprint, for them to, rush this over the goal line to get digital dollar, tie that into universal basic income, eventually tie that into, you didn't get your Fed wallet, so you can't get your $2,000 a month. You'll only get, $1,000 a month, but don't worry, you'll have Trump's signature on the $1,000 check. And then who knows? And that's going to turn into, you didn't get this sort of incentive that we're trying to push, so now we're going to, only give you $1,500 a month. But if you want the full $2,000, just be on board. And then eventually it's, we're going to have negative interest rates, and your $2,000 a month is going to have, a 10% negative interest rate on it. So you're going to have to spend your money to force people to get that into the economy. But all this has to do with Keynesian economic thinking. We should have supply side economics. We should have a free market. We should have real sound money. But the biggest thing that is affecting everyone is the fact that our money is backed by debt. Because if our money is privately owned, not if our money is privately owned by the Federal Reserve. And until that is created, we are all high-tech serfs, and they are messing everything up. And so that's why Luke and I are talking a lot about the economy, because everything has to do with following the money. Everything has to do with what is going on in the financial system. And that's why people are broke. That's why people are hungry. That's why people are going to be out in the streets. And that's why all these factions are getting used against each other. And instead of having the fake left fighting the fake right all the time, we should be identifying the real crooks, and the real crooks are the ones sitting at 33 Liberty Street at the Federal Reserve, not, whatever, pro wrestler, in the fake left or the fake right that are arguing over the same stuff while really, moving the ball forward in the direction of tyranny, Luke. And that's all I've got to say on that one.
Yeah, people need to realize money's not bad. A lot of people have been programmed and conditioned to think money and having money is bad. No, it's a resource. It's an ability to prevent you from suffering. It's something that's great, and we should always strive and work hard and have this kind of entrepreneurial spirit. But that's been totally conditioned out of people. And what's promoted? Oh, don't worry. You'll just get a little download on your phone. You get a little digital dollar. Yeah, you're going to be able to buy some Teletubbies or some nonsense bull crap that you don't need, made from China, because our big globalist friend Henry Kissinger and David Rockefeller opened up China to the world. Hey, yeah, look how that worked out. I got a lot of other things we got to say. We're going to continue talking about this. We went way longer than we expected, but there's so much to get into. Stay tuned for more here on Change the News. Subscribe and click the notification button.